In today's video, we're going to be going over 10, 12 plus hour long lasting winter fragrances that will completely crush other weak scents out there. You know, winter time is especially a time where you need projection. You need longevity. You need scents with enough base, enough depth and richness to be able to last and hold up to cold temperatures. Otherwise, if you have something that's weak, it's simply not going to get out there. It's not going to get you noticed. And the nice thing about these is that they have that overpowering effect. When you're essentially competing with a bunch of other smells, just in general, out there in the real world, good or bad, you know, whether it's other colognes or whatever it might be, you know, these kind of have the ability to overpower those. They kind of take over and take the center stage because they are so strong, therefore getting you noticed even more. At the end of the day, I know performance is kind of the number one thing people want along with compliment factor. So we've kind of got a mixture of both here today because aside from maybe a couple of these, pretty much all of these are big compliment pullers. And this first one is definitely a compliment puller. It's Kilian Angel Share. Okay, we're starting off strong here with niche. However, there are clone options available and you can get this one on discounters, which is going to get you in below retail, although still is not cheap. It's got praline, cognac, oak, cinnamon, tonka bean, and almond. If that note breakdown doesn't sell you, then I don't know what else I could do otherwise, other than just to describe it as a warm, rich, inviting gourmand. It smells absolutely amazing, addicting, alluring, seductive. Now you gotta like sweet fragrances, you gotta like gourmands. Chances are if you clicked on this video, video about winter scents, you might like that stuff to begin with, so you're in the right place, and this would be one that you might want to consider. However, I understand that going in for a blind buy on the real deal is very risky due to the price. You could go for a clone. You could go for something like Lattafa Camera, which is going to get you very close, but at a fraction of the price, around, $30 or so for that one. That would be a great way to get into the DNA and see if it's something that you're going to like. And you've got a full 100 milliliter bottle to wear and test versus buying like a small sample of this for not too far off of $30 by the end of the day. And then, not being able to wear it nearly as much to see kind of what you like and don't like. So Angel Share, getting this DNA into your collection is a great fit for this time of year. If you want longevity, you want mass appeal, this is going to work. This next one is maybe an unexpected one for wintertime. However, it works great. I love wearing this in the wintertime. It is Dior Sauvage Parfum. It's got sandalwood, orange, olibanum, and tonka bean. So not your usual Sauvage. And this is kind of where the shift started, really. And then after this, of course, we got Elixir, which really completely made a 180 away from this lineup here. But this is kind of what got that little trend started because, yes, there is still some existing Sauvage in here. You pick up on it. You could still tell that this is a Sauvage flanker, okay? So there's still some relation. Elixir just completely takes that away. But I do like this one, and I always have. Ever since it first came out, I've been a big fan of it. However, I think it's kind of a little bit of an overlooked one, and that's primarily because the hype was still around Sauvage EDT and even EDP. The Parfum came out, it didn't quite take off in the same way, and then Elixir came out, which completely blew up, and this is kind of stuck in the middle where people just don't talk about it. But I like the fact that with this one, they're taking away the sharpness of Sauvage, EDT, and even the EDP. They're taking that away, focusing more on the sandalwood creaminess, more on the olibanum, orange instead of bergamot, taking away all that ambroxan, right? So they're doing some things differently here, still leaving just a hint of Sauvage, but with a nice, smoother, sweeter, more refined twist without going too far in the opposite direction like Sauvage Elixir did. So I think this one is honestly, it's a great middle ground. It's for people who don't want straight up Sauvage, but yet maybe Sauvage Elixir is a little bit too extreme for them. Sauvage Parfum makes complete and total sense. And this is the great time of year to wear it. Fall and winter, I would say. You can pull it off in spring easily. Summertime, I'm going to be looking at something different. But right now is a great time to wear this true Parfum. So it's a long-lasting scent. Leaves a great scent trail behind you. And of course, it's a Sauvage, it's a Dior, it's a great compliment puller. This next one is going to be one of the scents I was talking about that is going to be more daring. Not going to be the most mass-pleasing thing ever. I'm not saying that it won't work, definitely will. Some people will love it, other people will not. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But this video primary focus is performance, right? Overpowering other scents, and this will do that without a doubt. It is Mancera Intense Red Tobacco. So it has this red pipe tobacco, of course, has some tonka bean, some patchouli, and then a semi-prominent oud accord. Now it's a Mancera oud, aka a little bit medicinal smelling and not like the highest quality oud compound you've ever smelled, but nonetheless it is still there just a little bit, not to the point where it's completely overpowering the scent, but I will say that that little bit of oud combined with the intense tobacco smell that this one has, it creates for a very bold wearing experience, to put it lightly. So, if you're, not wanting to take any chances, then you're not going to want to go for this. But if you don't care and or you want to take chances and you want to be more polarizing, this is going to be right up your alley. And again, we're talking in straight concentration because this is the intense version. This one still clocks in at under $100 on discounters. It's 120 milliliter full presentation niche, which is just crazy value for the money. So this is going to be for the guy who just wants to stand out, and if you pick up a kind of weird look here and there along the way, you don't care. That's kind of the attitude you have to have when wearing something like this. There's going to be people who like it, but keep in mind, it's not your Dior Sauvage or Jean Paul Gaultier, Le Male Elixir, right? Level of mass appeal here. So make sure you keep that in mind. However, if you want beast mode that just will not hold back 12, 14 plus hours of just intense longevity and wearing experience, Red Tobacco Intense is the way to go. We're gonna go ahead and knock both of these out because this next one might be a little bit more polarizing as well. It's Bentley for Men Intense. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that it's way more affordable. Keep in mind that Mancera already is pretty reasonable for niche, but this is designer, but it is, usually around $30. That's a full presentation, 3.3 ounce bottle here. $30, basically cheapy price at this point. Now this has incense, it has this rum accord, and a lot of a cedar wood accord as well. It's smoky, it's rich, it's kind of resinous, boozy, of course. It is very, people are gonna say it smells like an old person. People are gonna say, whatever it might be. It does have a mature smell to it, no doubt about it. And I've said this before, and I try to bring this up every time, and it sounds like clockwork for people who watch my channel, but I have to say it, otherwise, well, the comments just come anyway. This is affordable. It's in that blind buy price, but that doesn't mean you should just rush out and blind buy it without giving it any thought first, because that happens. And then, people get upset at me when I try to explain that, hey, this is not your usual $30 smelling scent. Most things in this price range are fresh, they're clean, they're inoffensive, right? Soapy, citrusy, whatever. Not this. This doesn't really fit any of those descriptors there. So keep that in mind. This is kind of like Red Tobacco Intense or just Red Tobacco, where you want something bold, you want something that stands out and that goes against the grain that you're used to smelling in terms of modern releases, then you go for something like this. But I'm telling you, if this is the type of thing you like, you are in such luck, because this is such a high quality, strong performing scent for a cheapy price. There really aren't too many other, value packed fragrances like this out there, where it offers so much, almost practically niche level smell for a cheapy price. It really is amazing. So if you're somebody who likes this, again, that's awesome. You're in luck, because for the money, it is so, so good. This next one is Armani Stronger With You Parfum. Now we're getting back on track with the mass appeal, okay? This is gonna be one that I don't think anybody would ever dislike. You might have people who think it's boring, but aside from that, just in terms of smelling good and getting compliments, this is basically guaranteed to work. This one has vanilla, chestnut, and leather. So, you're thinking, well, what's the difference between absolutely? What's the difference between intensely? Here's the way I describe it. It's essentially intensely, but in a parfum concentration. Now, they're adding some leather that was not existing in really any of the other flankers. That's good, aside from Stronger With You leather, of course. But the leather addition here in this one is nice and it helps it. But, it doesn't have the rum boozy kick that absolutely does, right? So it's similar to that one just because it's a Stronger With You and it has that DNA, but again, it doesn't have that same type of absolutely smell. It's basically just the intensely version, but amped up into a parfum concentration versus an eau de parfum concentration. That's kind of how I look at it. Again, with the addition of leather, which makes it a little bit more of a standout scent in terms of smell between the two. But again, that's just kind of where I fall with this one. I still love Absolutely. It's still my favorite, but the Parfum is a close second. I like this one a lot because of that fact. And I like a Parfum wearing experience more than I do an eau de parfum. Again, mass appeal is through the roof on this one. It's a strong performer as well. So with that Parfum, you're getting all day longevity and just a nice trail that it leaves in the air. You can't go wrong with any stronger with you. Take your pick, whichever one your favorite is. But for me, the ones I'm always gonna pick are Absolutely and the Parfum. All right, this next one is gonna be Herrera Bad Boy. This is the Le Parfum version. I love this one. I love Elixir, you know. I like all of them basically except for the original. This one has leather, cannabis, and pepper. So a little bit of a slight green herbal smell from the cannabis, but then you get into plenty of sweets as well, okay? Just this Tonka vanilla mixture that is pretty much a standard in designer fragrance as well. You stumble across that here. And then a nice spicy pepper accord. I like this one a ton. I think it's great. I think it's, again, one of those standout scents where when you smell it, it turns heads, it gets people's attention because, yeah, it's a bad boy, and yes, it's a relatively newer release, but it does stand out in comparison to some other scents out there for sure. And I think that people aren't quite used to smelling this type of thing as much as they are some of the others. And so that's comes as a bonus for you, the person wearing it, because again, it does kind of help you to separate yourself a little bit. I think this is worlds better than the original. For me, the original isn't worth a purchase. In fact, I don't even know if I have my original bottle anymore. I might have given it away, might have probably just given it away actually. I don't think I would have sold it. Or maybe I lost it, but I don't think I have it. But I have most of the flankers, if not all of the flankers, which I think are all a significant improvement over the original, including this one. For winter, it works great. You could even wear this one in fall and even the beginning parts of spring, honestly, you know, when it's still a little bit cold in the air, not too hot yet. This one will work great as well. This next one is $30. It really dropped in price. It was somewhat expensive for a while when it was new, but I mean, the prices have just been dropping on this one. Again, $30 now. And it's kind of a polarizing one because of the bottle. It's Philipp Plein, no limits. You've got the credit card looking bottle here, you know, tacky and kind of cheap looking, I will admit. However, don't let that dictate what you think about the scent, because the scent is actually very impressive. And I'm telling you, if the bottle was more normal looking, I think this one would have sold a lot better. It has dark chocolate, incense, bourbon, vanilla, and leather, along with some oud and some cedar wood. That's just a few of the notes. Massive note breakdown. I think they even list off some sort of C note in here as well, which is just kind of odd. No Limits Super Fresh has a white chocolate accord, and some of the C notes, it's obviously going to be fresher but still sweet. For wintertime, the regular one here is the way to go. And I'm almost 100% sure this was done by Alberto Marias. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. And it smells really, really good. Chocolatey, leathery. It kind of smells like a pretty popular by Kilian scent. I'll let you put everything together there and figure out which one it is, because when you look at the note breakdowns, you kind of can get a pretty good idea quick. And it actually does smell like that, which is pretty interesting. The leather in here kind of smells a little bit like the leather in Gucci Guilty Absolute, if you're familiar with that one. So kind of a rich, strong, slightly earthy leather. You get a little bit of that, but there's so many other sweet notes and everything else going on to tame it down to where it's not too crazy. If you want something unique, if you want something that stands out, and you're okay with the bottle, I mean, this one's great for 30 bucks. Tom Ford Noir Extreme Parfum is perfect for this time of year. The EDP is too. I just never got good performance out of it. Kind of let me down. The Parfum fixes that. You get that Colfie note, that gourmand sweetness, but with a leather accord. That's what this is, okay? Still getting that original smell, but they're just amping up the concentration, tossing in a little bit of leather, and you've basically got Noir Extreme Parfum here in a nutshell, which I love. A little bit more expensive, but to me, the added cost more than pays for itself over the long term, especially if you buy a 100 ml bottle like this, because if it performs better, you're going to wear it more. Therefore, you're getting your use out of it versus it sitting there collecting dust and just kind of, you know, not getting any use at all, which to me is kind of a waste. Running down to the very end of the video with Pasha de Cartier Parfum. You're not going to hear about this one a ton. People don't talk about this like a lot of other big designer brands, but this one is great. It's got sandalwood, liquor, and balsam fir. So a nice, classy smelling, rich boozy scent with, again, just a premium undertone. It smells expensive, and luckily it's not really. I mean, especially by today's standards, discounter price $90, $95. I think I've even seen it into the mid to high 80s. I mean, man, what you're getting for the money is incredible at that price point. The retailer is going to be much more, I'm sure, but we're not talking. And when you take a look at things like, for example, YSL Myself Le Parfum, which I love, by the way, but typically goes for $120 to $140 on discounters for the same bottle size. Which one do you think is more unique and, you know, standing out more? Well, it's going to be the Pasha de Cartier. Again, I love Myself Le Parfum, but it's just the fact that, man, something this good and this unique for significantly less than something like that is pretty impressive. We're going to finish this off with a cheapie, $30 to $40. It's Ferragamo Uomo Signature. It's taking that original Uomo DNA, adding in some coffee and some leather. Simple as that. Smells absolutely amazing for wintertime. Strong projection, great longevity, and a huge, huge compliment puller. This one is super, super easy to pull off in fall and winter especially, and people are going to love it. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. 10, 12 plus hour strong performing winter fragrances that just cut through the air and put everything else to shame. Links will be down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.